That's fine.
Okay, well, if you want to say something privately, I can always turn it off. And we probably won't even revisit it, but we're making history here today, so it might be worth consulting at some point. So I just threw out a tentative agenda, coming up with some dates, and I just wanted to see what you guys thought about dates. Ellen reminded me that fall is not totally out of the question. In fact, there might be some advantages to doing that. The disadvantage is that Stephanie might be heading back to Germany, but she might see that as an advantage, depending on, and it would require some orientation. So, hi, Emma.
Hello.
We're just getting started and talking about dates, first of all, and just throw it open to anyone who wants to make any comments about dates.
I'm totally fine with any of the July. I can't do the 12th of June because that's my birthday. So I'm good for anything in July.
And I was going to say I'd prefer June over July because I'm heat averse.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking the same thing, but
Yeah. Because the heat's going to really radiate off of that parking lot.
Did we say that the schools are not going to be likely available in the fall?
No, we did not say that.
Okay.
The dates that Valley City has for the fall, by the way, if folks are up for considering the fall, it looks like, August 28th, September,
August 28th will be very hot.
Yeah.
Gosh, I made a note of them. What did I send you, Ellen? Do you recall?
I don't offhand. Something like September or October 14. There were a couple dates in October. One in earlier September than I think we normally choose.
Yeah, here it is. September 18th and October 9th are also possibilities for Valley City. Which the more I thought about it, the more appealing it seemed to wait.
May I say why I'm thinking in those terms?
No, you may
My
not.
aversion to the mall is for the volunteers. The availability of bathrooms is an uncertainty. I know that the farmers market has a building that's supposed to have a bathroom, but so far because of COVID, it's not been open yet. There's a porta-john. I like to have an opportunity for volunteers to sit down, to get out of the weather if it's raining, to just take a break. And I don't know that the mall has better options than Chippewa Middle School.
Yeah.
Well, we could certainly rent porta-johns if folks are in favor of trying the mall. The mall does want to have us there. They're looking for things to attract people, but anyway, I want to hear everyone's perspectives, so I'm not going to talk so much.
Stephanie, when are you officially leaving?
I think the 24th of June. Exact day is not clear, but end of June.
Okay, so anything in July even won't
Yeah,
work.
no.
Okay.
This is why I looked at Leroy's dates and I was like, well, the first one I could potentially make, but on the other hand, it's a week before we move. And we do have to get everything into a container, which makes the move really fun. Mm-hmm. So I'm not completely sure that I will be highly engaged in a recycling event at that time. So I figured I'll keep myself out of your date discussion. I do want to say, though, the mall has the bathrooms open currently. the restrooms. So currently, at least, you can use them without any problem.
Do you mean inside the mall?
Yeah. It surprised me. I wasn't expecting that because all others are closed. I was like, oh, they are actually open. So yes.
Does the mall have any close to where we would be according to their map, though? I don't think so, is my recollection. You'd have to go in and way down almost to Macy's. Okay.
I'm guessing that the market bathrooms will definitely be open fairly soon.
Do you know how big a bathroom it is?
No.
Me
Bigger than a
neither.
porta-john.
I mean, porta-johns are relatively low cost for just added backup, and probably it makes sense to have some extras. But for the sake of discussion, what if Stephanie's probably not going to be able to make it either way, how do folks feel about September 18th?
I will also mention that weather is always a crapshoot. We've had warmer days later in the fall than we have had earlier in the fall. We never know. The likelihood is high that it'll be hot in the summer, but we don't know that.
And
True.
may I ask, what happens if it's raining? Like if it's pouring, are you just doing it in the pouring rain? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless there's lightning, in which case we'd probably shut it down. Maybe. Go ahead.
Are we going to be fighting some home football game in September? We don't know yet, do we?
We don't typically fight with them.
Okay, so that won't affect turnout.
Well,
We
it will, but it's not
we
going to be
don't
an
know.
issue.
Okay.
We have had that come up many times. And in the end, we feel like the people that are avid recyclers
Well,
make a point of getting there at 9 a.m.
Anyway,
and then
okay,
they go
okay.
tailgate.
September 18th would work for me. The other thing with the mall, is there a place for a break area for the volunteers or no?
Yeah, there's going to be a grassy knoll next to the mall. And there's obviously a sheltered area, but these are all good questions, and we could probably look at where are the picnic tables and where are the closest spots to sit down. We try and keep the shifts fairly short so
Yeah.
that volunteers can swing a 4-hour shift. We haven't set up nap cots yet, but think that might be nice for most of us here.
Most of us
Hammocks.
old folk.
Yeah, I can do the September 18th.
Yeah, I just checked the MSU football schedule, and that date is supposed to be an away game at this point.
Oh,
Perfect.
cool. Thanks for doing that, Tom.
Yeah.
I mean, the other fall date, October 9th, is obviously a possibility too, but it might be nice to have a couple of options.
Mhm.
There was talk about doing a green fair in at the Market on the Green. Emma, has there been any more discussion about that? If you're tuned in, I know Emma's got some other conflicts this afternoon, but she wanted to join us for a little bit.
Yeah, sorry if my service is kind of bad here. So it's been a really busy week for Luann, couple weeks here, and I just haven't been able to nail down some time with her, but I know that she's still really gung-ho about it. We just haven't found the time to sit down and talk about specifics yet.
Okay. I like the idea of being earlier in the fall. Just the probability is it might be a little warmer. October 9th could be warm too, but could also be snowing. Same with September, but the probability I think is a little better. Ellen, thank you so much for suggesting the fall possibility. And then what other thoughts do people have about dates? So we get everything on the table here. But if you're cool with the 18th, I really like the idea of kind of shooting for that, unless there's a reason not to. And then maybe Stephanie could give us some of her secrets and not so secrets for whoever's going to be assisting with electronics. It doesn't have to happen right now, Stephanie, obviously, but
The other reason I like the fall is I feel like there's a better opportunity to connect with high school students
Yeah,
as potential volunteers.
that's true. Yep.
good point.
I would say maybe on that one, because the 18th is 3 weeks into the school year. Like they haven't figured out their club structure yet. Like you kind of need to have them already informed in June if you want them in mid-September. On the other hand, they are still highly motivated because the school year has just started. So you
Yeah.
might get lucky.
Yeah, I think if we were to, inform them of it earlier, with plenty of time, I think we could be okay. But I agree with you. I mean, I don't have a high schooler, so I defer to Stephanie for sure for that. But I'm hoping that we could be okay by just saying it early enough.
Okay. Anything else on dates before we talk a little bit more about locations?
Well, I was gonna try to suggest fall as well, if it didn't come up, because, yeah, you're
Great.
more likely to have heat in the summer, and you're more likely to have people away on weekends in the summer.
Great.
Those that can get away are gonna be gone, I would think.
Cool. Well, thanks, Elaine. As far as the mall versus Chippewa, does anyone have any strong feelings one way or the other on that?
Are the size-wise, are the areas compatible? Like, is there as much room at the mall, according to that map that you emailed us, as that we have at Chippewa? Can't hear you.
You're muted.
Thank you. There's not as much room at the mall in the spot that I pulled up. Let me just quickly give you a screen share here. Well, here's Chippewa.
Mhm.
And I actually haven't done the math here, but just in looking at the mall, this is the area right here. Shoot, let me just see if I can find this is kind of the area at the mall. The market is over here, and this is kind of market parking. So
If you're pointing on something, we are not seeing that.
Right.
sorry.
If you're pointing on something, or if you pulled up a different map, we didn't see that. We're still seeing your Google map.
Are you seeing a yellow?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Try again here.
Ah,
There we go.
Okay,
yeah,
so
I think when we suggested the mall, it was more the question if we could do it in addition to the farmers market, like if it could be smaller and be like a more regular thing. I'm not sure we want to do mall, or you want to do mall, if it's the full recycling event, because that actually has its advantage that it's at Chippewa and nothing else is around it, usually.
yeah.
I cannot imagine traffic flow
Yeah.
on a market. So perhaps if you could have it on a Sunday where the market wouldn't be happening. But I think that it doesn't seem reasonable.
Can you see the mall or the
Yeah.
market on the green here?
Yeah.
As a regular market attendee, I can't imagine the traffic flow of having an event that close to the market. I think Dave would jump in a lake before he'd try to do traffic on that place.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe this area, if we talk about it like a green event. Sorry, Emma, I don't know if you can see or not, or even if you're still with us, but
I can see.
okay. Maybe this could be an area for a green fair of some sort if we have some food trucks or windmills or what have you. Anyway, we can talk more about that later, but
Yeah, I like that. Well, and I know we talked about doing different parks too, to make sure we keep everything spread out enough. But I do really like that as like a base camp type of situation.
The concern I had with the traffic at the mall is the whole idea of blocking off businesses. Like I can make it, design it where I wind people through, but I think at some point you're still going to make it so that you're blocking off either like the high caliber, or you're blocking off the movie theater, or that's my concern is trying to make it so that you give yourself room to have people in a holding pattern, but not blocking off. Either they wind out to the road and they block off the road, or you wind through the mall parking lot and you block off the different businesses. That's my concern for it.
yeah.
And we have such a feel at this point for how it works at Chippewa, and Davis tweaked the traffic pattern so much that maybe it would be better to just go with the flow there and do something else at the mall.
Mm-hmm. Any other thoughts?
Well,
So-
we've trained people to come to Chippewa. It's hard to retrain people to go somewhere else, you know?
Yeah.
I definitely like the idea of the green fair at the mall in that area that's next to the market. I think that's a wise move. I don't know that moving the recycling away from Chippewa is the good thing.
Yeah, I'm still considering if something like if we were to do only a clothes collection, or like if it's a small thing, if that is something that could easily be added on to the market, that like but a full electronics recycling event is never small. We learned that pretty quickly. But if, for example, MSU wanted to come and wanted to collect bicycles one Saturday, I could see that happening at the mall. And I think that would be an easy add-on. Like it would make sense to combine these two in that moment.
I totally agree, because if you're doing bikes or you're doing something else, you're not dealing with these massive semis. When you're dealing with electronics is just so big with those huge semis. And and the last time we had this semi that got stuck trying to maneuver itself, and not stuck as in like in mud, but you know what I mean. It was stuck in that traffic. So yeah, I think that's a great idea, Stephanie. I agree.
I love the bike tie-in too with the bike repair station that they have at the farmer's market. It's a nice tie-in.
Yeah. I get pumped up thinking about that.
Yeah.
The brum.
I gotta mute myself now. Okay. So I can check with the schools. I did call them this afternoon, but they weren't in. I assume that we might that they might be available. I think things are a little bit up in the air in terms of use of the building, so we may be restricted to outdoors again.
Well, here's the thing, like their students are back in this week and they're going back in next week. And so I imagine by fall, it's going to be quite a bit more open than it is now. So I don't know that will be an issue. I think it will still have some restrictions, but I think I do think it will be a little bit more open than it is now.
Mm-hmm.
I know you had kind of mentioned Porta Johns before. Is there a big obstacle with that? I know they worked very well at the farmers market this summer. Just, have lots of hand sanitizer on hand.
No pun intended.
I
No,
just find them less pleasant. Not that the ladies' room is stellar at Chippewa. I think all the women know that. It's
Yeah.
pretty horrific for a public
pretty-
school.
It's
But
pretty sad.
Yeah, absolutely. They're definitely not, the first choice, but to give someone, at least a place to go, and if we have to go that route.
I think they've been remodeled as well.
I was gonna say they're being remodeled,
Okay.
so
Good.
hopefully soon. I think they will be done by this fall. I can't remember which school and stuff, but yeah, they're being remodeled.
Yay.
I was wondering about that. I'm like, either it was last summer or this summer that it was planned.
Yeah, they're nasty.
Great.
But schools are open, at least in high school. We even have contact sports going on with very specific limitations and testing and everything. But we do have contact sports going on, meaning the amount of control the school exerts has gone down quite a bit.
Sounds good. Well, those are the main things on my agenda. I'm excited to get your input. I really appreciate everyone's thoughtful consideration of this. I know it's all in our interest to have something smooth running and doable. It's going to be sad not having Stephanie,
Yeah.
but maybe we could save up if we get some extra donations. We could fly her back for an occasional event every.
I was just going to
Few
say
years.
import her every year.
That, or we can make a cardboard copy. We can take a picture and make you a cardboard person,
perfect.
and we'll all take a picture around you.
But Stephanie, truly, if you find in your packing that you have junk that you would rather leave with Meridian Recyclers, give me a holler and you can bring it on by the library, the old library where we store our stuff.
I'd gladly come back to that offer.
Yeah,
I already
give me a
realized
holler.
that that's one of the disadvantages of not having a recycling event before I leave. That I actually do have electronics that I would have liked to leave here because they don't work in Germany.
Oh, we can help you out.
But yeah,
Well-
I do have the boxes that definitely somebody should take that we've used in the car lines to get the tiny items in. And Sarah was already starting to pack some of them, and I know we talked after the last meeting. I'm like, oh, I'll pack them in my car. I'll bring them back next time. I think you get them before next.
Can you remind me of if one of you was one or two of you expressed interest in being an apprentice of Stephanie's? Was that Anne?
I did, but I would also like a second person if possible because my right hip may be having surgery by the time September comes. So,
Mm-hmm. Well, we might be able to put that out to other
I'm ahead
volunteers.
of you. But it's my left hip and the surgery's in April.
mine's already been done, so, and now it's the right one.
Oh, I know it's the right. Oh, gee. Oh, boy.
Well, it sounds like we might want a couple of green shirts
Yeah.
assisting. And Tom, are you willing to partner with Sarah on traffic?
Yeah, wherever you want me, traffic, or if you want me to apprentice, I'm open to that as well. So flexible.
Fantastic.
Are you doing electronics only in fall, or are you doing a full event?
That was my question.
It's a good question. Well, given the fact that there are other regional events that are likely to be canceled, and I don't know that Recycle-Rama, which usually goes, I think, in the spring, is going to happen this year. So we might just get slammed pretty heavily. I guess I would be more inclined to keep it simple, and I really love the idea that you brought up, Stephanie, about doing clothing or bikes at the mall. And
Leroy, what do you remember, or what do you know? Anything new with what Wanda from Williamstown Township was talking about of doing stuff over there, like certain things? Do you know if she's getting any of that organized at all?
Haven't heard anything lately, but maybe we can check in with her at
Okay.
the Wednesday morning dialogue. I feel like I'm just a naysayer right with this concept. What do other people think? I'm just feeling overly selfish and protective of my time, but I like the idea of keeping it simple. That's my 2 cents.
Well, the way I look at it is I think that I like how it worked last time, electronics only, and I think we could spread, like you guys are saying with the mall. I think we could spread some of this other stuff out that is smaller over there, and keep this at least during COVID, and or as we're moving out of COVID, leave this as electronics right now, and then just maybe get some other things organized that are smaller, like the bikes or the clothing and stuff at the mall area, and then just leave this one the way it is. Because I think you're right. I think, I mean, we're going through continuing to go through this, and I think we're just going to have a lot of people that are going to have electronics that they're going to want to get rid of. So that's my 2 cents.
As we think about it, the mall is really interested in getting people there on Wednesday afternoon.
Why Wednesday afternoons?
Yeah.
Just because it's not very well attended at the mall. They're trying to draw people in. And
You mean the?
not,
You
I
mean
I
the?
mean the farmer's market. Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, okay.
I mean, the disadvantage you have on a Wednesday afternoon is that everybody who's working has a hard time coming, so you will have less volunteers. That's kind of the
Mhm.
trade-off. And people that have kids might also be busy again. That makes a weekend easier.
About having an event on a Wednesday?
Well, if we do think about bikes or clothing or shredding or whatever,
We'll do it at a Wednesday market. Well, if people don't come on Wednesday, then why would we want to? Would
Have
we
an
be able
event
to
on
draw more people or not? Or
it's
would
kind of
we
a,
have a non-event happening?
the point is they're trying to make Wednesdays happen with the market.
Mm.
And, the market has some qualities that are attractive itself so if we can embellish their events a little bit and draw more people, they would appreciate that.
What
I'm
are
not
the
saying-
Wednesday market hours?
I want to say 3 to 7 or something like that.
Okay, I was gonna say if it's late afternoon to early evening, maybe we could draw more people. I mean, you could at least pick up I don't have children of that age, but maybe people could pick up the kids, go to the mall, drop off their stuff, go to the market and then go home. I don't know, but
And there's nothing that says that we have to be there for 4 hours.
true.
Good point.
Maybe you do packing peanuts and egg cartons for 2 hours and call it good.
Yeah, I'm like listening to all of that. I wonder if it's even something to spread out. Like if one weekend or one weekday is egg cartons, and then 2 weeks later it's bikes, and then 2 weeks later it's like, if it's always something else, but it's the same time frame, so people know, oh, something should be collected today. Like the people that regularly go know, oh, something should be collected today, and the other people get drawn in and realize that something is happening. I'm not sure if that's something that could work out.
I really think that would.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I really think that would go in line with. I know Tom Carey, the farm market manager, is just very interested in really pushing to get recycling and composting eventually at the farm market. So, I think it would be kind of neat to do, like you're saying, something separate there at each Wednesday market that people can expect, and then kind of continue that, throughout a couple weeks or however long, however many things we feel like we want people to be able to recycle. I think that'd be really interesting.
If we were terribly organized, we would have a big green fair, say in June, that would list the July, August, September dates
Mhm.
of Wednesday or Saturday individual recycling options.
Love it.
I mean, the advantage of doing it this way is you need like 2 to 4 people each week. Like you don't need 20, 80 people. You need a
Mhm.
few people, which is actually seems might be doable. Sorry,
Well,
Elaine, go ahead.
Even if you just did like once a month in those months, you could have 1 or 2 items once a month. Like say Wednesday, the first of the month, you're doing something, and then the next month you're doing you're doing something different. But it's always that consistent, like first month or first Wednesday or whatever, something like that. Then it becomes a regular. But I like what Ellen is saying is, with doing like the June fair or that kind of thing, you kind of get it started and then
Mhm.
go for a couple of months. Yeah, I like it.
If Tom at the market really wants to get recycling going there, has he thought about having some sort of permanent recycling station there? That, how some of the stores in their vestibules have had at various times containers for smaller goods, like
Mhm.
the ones that collect the plastic bags, the small electronics, like, the discs and the cords and stuff like that, and the inkjet cartridges, and,
Yeah,
something that you can't normally drop off other places, maybe. And, and you could also do the egg cartons. The farmers the farmers are there to take the egg cartons on market day anyway. So bringing
that's
your egg
kinda what I was
cartons
thinking
there
too.
is a good idea.
Emma?
Could be a drop place for egg cartons too.
Yeah,
do you-
I'm right on your same page. I think Tom would love to do something. I mean, him and I are always talking zero waste, and he really wants to promote more of that at the market and just make it more of a holistic place of, good vendors, local sustainability, everything. So I know that he would be really open to this conversation, and yeah, so I think
Mhm.
maybe I can just reach out to him and let him know, the things that we're kind of talking about right now, and just see what is on his mind as well.
Great, Emma. Thank you so much for tuning in. I know you've got something else going on at 5:30, so
Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Emma.
Thanks.
See you next time. I'll see you at the green conversation next week, some of you.
great. If any of you are interested in that conversation, I can send you the link if you don't have it. I know some of you work for a living, but if you can think of a way to tie it to your work, we'd love to have you. Speaking of which, we are the first Wednesday. We are going to have sort of an educational session as part of these green conversations. The next, the one in April, I think, on the first Wednesday, which is April 7th, I think, it's going to be on ecological planting or native landscaping. We'll talk about that for 15 or 20 minutes and then probably open it up for conversation. So, let's see, anything else for the good of the whole? I'm happy to keep this short and sweet meeting, but I'm happy to keep talking too if you got something you want to talk about.
I'm wondering if Hammond Farms has been offered to come and do the composting thing at the market perhaps as part of our green fair. I know that I saw recently in the Green Gazette, I believe, that they're doing the composting with those buckets. And it's X dollars for a bucket of one size and less for a bucket of a smaller size. Just coming to demonstrate. I know if I could ask them a question, it would be, how do you have a 5-gallon bucket that doesn't attract fruit flies in your home? Maybe there's a brilliant answer. I don't know.
Do you have any?
Be involved.
Do you have any oil-based paint hanging around in your garage or your basement? You can just pour a little bit of that on the top. It kind of creates a little fruit fly barrier.
Good for the compost too.
Yeah.
Sorry. No, that's a
Since you
great,
brought that up, Roy, do we need to do paint recycling at some point? Because I know that a lot of people redecorated their houses in the pandemic.
Good
So
point.
is that something we also should kind of keep on our probably
Point.
list?
good point. I know Jim pretty much shut down his operation, so I don't know what the options are going to be for that. I know that the county health department's gearing up again for household hazardous waste, and actually, I think they are talking about a paint collection. I'll try and get an update on that. It might
Okay.
be a regional event, which would be really cool.
Otherwise, paint could be done in one of those once a month things, because it wouldn't take that many people if we had somebody that would take the recycled paint.
Well,
It doesn't take that many people,
No.
but it does take a forklift and it does take quite a bit of space. Like they usually, like when we had the full setup, they had nearly the same area that electronics had. Not quite, but they also used quite a bit of area.
yeah.
But would you
Does
say,
Does Habitat still do paint, recycled paint?
They're interested in full or almost full cans, unopened cans. So
Less option.
I haven't checked with them though in about a year, so should probably check in.
would you say with the paint recycling, since I've not been and seen that one, would you say, okay, that it takes the same space, but there's less people that come for it? So it would be less of an issue? Or what do you think about that?
There's about 2/3 of the people probably that come for electronics. It's pretty popular and substantial.
A lot of paint people.
I think that's at least that's what I had in mind, that it was growing every year and that we were shifting people from, like, there was more than one year where we sent people from electronics to paint because paint became the stopgap. Like, we were always planning for electronics to be the stopgap, which is why it's the last station on a full recycling event. And then it turned out it wasn't several times. So I'm not saying it's not possible, but I do say I would have similar concerns as doing electronics on the farmer's market for paint.
Could you do paint as people are standing? Like, imagine last year, could you do paint while people are sitting and waiting for electronics? Could they be removed earlier in the line?
If we were to do, I actually wonder if we were to do paint on the sidewalks, like if we,
That's
while
what
they
I'm
are
thinking.
driving in, that might
That's what I was
actually work. The only disadvantage is you actually have then the paint on the sidewalk. So you need to have the buckets there so the forklift can lift it, because you cannot drive there anymore. Like, it's
The
really
other
heavy, that stuff.
The other difficulty is if you are recycling paint and electronics, it's easier to put your paint cans on the bottom and put your electronics on top of that. So the difficulty of unloading all your paint stuff and having to dig through your electronics in your car to get at the paint, it slows things down. The other bugaboo with the paint that we've had in the past is the different price structure for different sizes of cans. And that has just taken time to collect those monies.
Yeah. How about our next meeting? Are folks up for meeting in another month, like the second Thursday? Is that in April?
Do you have a date?
April 8th? Yeah, does that work for folks at 5, roughly? I mean, for now?
Yep.
No,
No?
it's my surgery day.
Do you want to,
But it is an outpatient procedure, so I might be home by 5, depending.
I think we could give you an out that month.
but I'm not gonna plan to go. Okay,
Do you want to go a different date? You want to go in 3 weeks? April 1st?
Fine with me.
well, don't
That
change
works.
it on my account unless you want to change it.
Well, we've got Earth Week coming up.
Yeah.
I would love for us to be prepared to try to hammer out more of specifics regarding a summer green fair day. What kind of things would we like to happen on that one event? And then more generic thoughts on this concept of once a month or once a week, different drop-offs for different recycling items.
Okay. For those of you that care, do you prefer April 1st? Raise your hand.
April 1st is fine.
Either way,
Works for me.
Fine.
Or prefer April 8th? Okay, well, why don't we go tentatively with the 1st at 5-ish?
Yep.
Great. Then we'll kind of, I'll touch base with Emma since her department is sort of most maybe vested in this concept. And, but I like the fact that we're all supportive of the idea.
and is there any way, Leroy, for you to sort of troll the green conversations people about job shadowing for traffic, for electronics, for any other thing that you can think of?
Of course, yeah. I think it would go beyond the Green Dialogue. It would be, might be the Green Neighbors Network,
Yeah.
maybe even our volunteer base. I think there's about 350 people on that email list.
Maybe I'll draft an email.
You want to draft an email?
Draft an email, yeah.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Cool. Well, thanks everybody for
Thank you.
tuning in. Any parting words before we sign off? Other than, should we sing Elaine Happy Birthday? Happy birthday to you.
Happy
Happy birthday
to you.
Happy birthday, Elaine.
Happy birthday.
birthday to you.
You.
And many more.
Thank you. Now you know why they don't try to do virtual choirs on Zoom.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
My God, yeah.
Worst Zoom birthday ever.
All right, thanks everybody. Good to see
Thank
you.
you. Bye,
Thank
Laura.
you.
Thanks, Roy.
If you think of anything else after you tune off or sleep on it, feel free to send me an email. Copy everybody if you like. All right, take care.
Okay, thanks. Bye.